Welcome, guys. This is Cigar Garage with Doc, and tonight I'm smoking a 5 Vega, Connecticut, Equatorian Connecticut with Honduras and Nicaraguan filler. One of my favorite cigars, one of my top two, and really good cigar. You gotta let me know if you tried it yet or anyone like that. Pretty interesting cigar. Has a lot of flavor, not much pepper. Beautiful cigar, really. Very well made. 5 Vega. You can see I just lit it, just getting a little bit of even it up just a little bit on the light. I lit it a little quick, so it got a little wonky, but usually it's about a good 80%, 85% burn. It's not the perfect burn cigar, but it's not bad. As you can see, it's not bad at all. But it's one of my top everyday cigars. Anyway, it's premium. Today I wanted to talk about the Mandela effect. Been reading a lot about it, and actually over the years, but recently I read some articles about it, and there's more things being added all the time. Just a couple major things in my life that I want to share with you, and then you can put in the comments if you agree or what different things in your life, and give me a thumbs up and a subscription, will you? I appreciate it. It would help me stay on the air and doing these things. I don't edit it. I don't have all the equipment and all that. I'm not really here to make money. I'm here to just have fun, talk about subjects, and see what you guys think. Anyway, the Mandela effect. When I was a kid, I learned about cornucopia through Fruit of the Loom. I asked my mom, what that thing was. I remember, and it was Fruit of the Loom. I used to wear Fruit of the Loom shirts, socks, underwear, all the time, even until I was in high school. I know darn well I had a cornucopia. That's how I found out what a cornucopia was. The other thing I found out that way was the Monopoly man did have a monocle, because I had no idea why he had one eyeglass. And I remember that distinctly, going home and saying, what is that, one eyeglass? What does that mean? Like, he has money and he's the millionaire, I told my mom and dad, and they said, no, it's a monocle. And she explained to me how it worked, that they hold it and they sort of pinch it between their eyes. And I used to try to do that with it. It said it's very uncomfortable. I remember that distinctly. So I know darn well he had a monocle. Now they say, oh no, he never had a monocle. And I'm telling you, in my reality, he absolutely had one, because that's how I learned about a monocle too. Another thing was, one of my favorite peanut butters was Jiffy. They say now it was never Jiffy, it was always Jif. It wasn't Jif, it was Jiffy peanut butter. And there was commercials about it, and it was Jiffy, Jiffy, peanut butter. Guaranteed, because it was one of my favorites. Now, that's another one. Nelson Mandela himself. I read the article, saw the TV news when he died in prison. They say he didn't. He came out, became president. A lot of other things happened with him. Okay, fine. Another thing was Henry Winkler. Yeah, I know that Henry Winkler, they had these memes and people thought he actually died and he didn't. But they do that with a lot of people, and I always double check. But with Henry Winkler, it was on the news. They interviewed people from Happy Days show, and they were very sad about it. I was very sad about it. My wife was sad about it. I used to watch that show all the time. So believe me, in my reality, Henry Winkler passed away. I found out a couple of months back he's still alive. I was like, how is that possible? I was very sad about it. The interviews were sad from other stars that he was with. You can't tell me that in my reality he didn't die, because I saw the interviews. It wasn't just me. I didn't just look at the internet and say, oh, he died. No, I don't believe that. I checked it out, and then sure enough, it was on TV. It was on the news. A special report, Henry Winkler passed away. And then they interviewed, the people from the show that were still alive at the time. And nope, he's still alive. I don't know. I have no idea. Sinbad, I remember the movie. And I think there's a little something out where Sinbad may have done the movie now. That's a little thing that's, I think, a little wonky. I don't know what to believe about that. But they said that there was a point in time on the Mandela effect that they said that he never made a movie about being what do you call it? Not a wizard, genie. and he was a genie, and I do remember the movie. Wasn't my favorite movie, but I do remember that he did do the movie, because when I used to look at Sinbad, the movie used to come to mind. So I mean, I know he did the movie, at least in my reality. I also taught my kids to read with a couple of different books. One was the Mercer Mayer series, and one was the Berenstain Bears. It wasn't Berenstain Bears or Berenstein. It was Berenstain Bears. Okay, I taught my oldest daughter to read with that book. So I know, because we used to spell out the word B-E-R, and the sound each one, Berenstain Bears. So I know that in the Mandela effect, but that was also my reality. I'm not sure about some of the others, Kit Kat and a couple of the ways things were written, but there was sure a lot of things from my reality. One was the Statue of Liberty. I used to see it out of my grandmother's top window, out of her bedroom window. Growing up, I used to like to see it at night because it lit up. The torch lights up. But now, when I went to visit there to see where they used to live on a trip back to Jersey, going back to, I took a ride through sort of memory lane, and then checked out where I lived, where I grew up, and all that stuff. And I went up there, and you can't see it anymore. It's not there. It's on another island. Can't see it from there.